I want a commander-in-chief who will do everything in their power to ensure that the threat from radical Islamic terrorists do not wash up on American soil. We will have someone who leads and ultimately will send a message not only that we will protect American soil, but do not take this upon freedom-loving people anywhere else in the world. We need a leader with that kind of confidence. If I can take on 100,000 protesters, I can do the same across the world.
All right, Scott Walker, and guess what? Under the microscope again. Joining us now is our friend Larry Elder, radio host, Newsmax contributor, and best-selling author of Dear Father, Dear Son, 2 Lives, 8 Hours. Larry, he wasn't saying that ISIS were the protesters or the protesters were ISIS. But of course, anytime he opens his mouth now, unlike Hillary, he's going to be scrutinized beyond belief.
How much of a threat they perceive Scott Walker to be. This is a guy who not only talks the talk, he's walked the walk. He's won in Wisconsin, a very blue state. He survived that recall election. He got those union cutbacks, which is exactly what we need in the country. Been able to talk common sense to people who otherwise would not vote Republican. You're damn right. He scares the bejesus out of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was very impressed with his speech. I was very unimpressed with Christie during his Laura Ingraham talk.
Right.
And especially I related this story earlier that he doesn't go on her radio show. Well, he stopped going on my radio show, and I helped get him elected. They had their final debate when he was running for the Republican nomination in '09 on my show. And once I started asking him questions that he didn't want to answer, that was the end of him.
Well, Steve, that's flattering to you. As William F. Buckley used to say when he was asked why Ted Kennedy never showed up on Firing Line, the show that Buckley had for 33 years on PBS, Buckley said, why does the baloney avoid the grinder?
All right, let's move on. I want you to hear what Eric Holder had to say. Apparently he's doing all these farewell interviews, even though there's no successor confirmed yet.
Not on my show, Steve.
No, and not on Fox either, from what I'm told. But not on this show either. But listen to what he said when asked. He was talking about the inability to bring civil rights charges against George Zimmerman and probably against the officer in Ferguson. And here's what he said.
I think some serious consideration needs to be given to the standard of proof that has to be met before federal involvement is appropriate, and that's something that I'm going to be talking about before I leave office. I think that if we adjust those standards, we can make the federal government a better backstop, make us more a part of the process in an appropriate way to reassure the American people that decisions are made by people who are really disinterested, and I think that if we make those adjustments, we will have that.
He is the furthest, and this government, this administration, the furthest from disinterested people. He would have loved to have gone after and brought the tail of Zimmerman and the cop in, but he wants to adjust the standards. You mean make it easier to give a guy basically double jeopardy?
My goodness, whatever happened to probable cause? So much for beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty. Let's lower the standards so we can go after a bunch of white guys who ultimately won't even be convicted if the standard is beyond a reasonable doubt. It's absolutely asinine. What he's really saying is, I'm so sorry I could not figure out some sort of way of hammering Darian Wilson and Trayvon and George Zimmerman. I couldn't figure it out. I wish I could. I'll try next time. I'll try harder. It's absurd.
It is. It's, you know what it is? It's frightening. And I thank God. I mean, I don't know how you lower that standard. I don't even know. I don't even know how you go about doing that. But I have confidence that this nation would never let that happen. I don't know what scheme he has in mind or how low the standards would be. I guess they could just pick and choose who they want to bring charges against, and that should be enough. These emails, these 32,000 Lois Lerner emails in the IRS scandal, and the computer people said they were never asked to look for them, and the IRS commissioner apparently had testified that they were. What the heck is going on?
I wish I could tell you. The IRS commissioner testified these things were gone. We were told they were gone. Now we find out, voila, they're here. And we find out the IT people weren't even asked about their whereabouts. You tell me what's going on. The question is, will there be any consequences? The answer is probably not. Obama's out in about a year and a half, and that'll be that. Poof.
It is so, and of course Lois Lerner, we found out, got $130,000 in bonuses. One year she made so much money they couldn't pay her anymore. She reached the limit.
Yeah, she exceeded the federal limit for a federal employee, so they couldn't give her any more money.
You know what? I mean, Larry, my God, this is just so insane. And you know, I watched the news all day yesterday. I don't think anybody hardly, you know, in mainstream media even mentioned Hillary in that Washington Post story about the illegal or the unethical contribution she took, and the fact that they were allowed to take money from other states that had been contributing right along, other countries. I mean, this media is just unreal.
Hillary who?
That's about it. Good way to end. Hey, have a great weekend, Larry. Always good to talk to you.
You too, Steve. Thanks
a
lot.
All right, up next, Pete Hoekstra, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll talk about his view on Homeland Security. How vital is it to fund that group? Don't go away.